Let's say you work at a pharmaceutical company. One of your buddies from the lab walks by your desk and kind of whispers, "Hey, you're going to want to be around this afternoon. Got something big." And you pick up what he's putting down and you go buy $40,000 of your own company's stock. You get caught, you go to prison. Not a fine, not a stern letter, prison. Hell, there is an entire federal agency dedicated to finding you. They've got the windbreakers with the letters on the back. But if you work in sports and make millions of dollars just being the idiot on air, and some guy who breaks news walks up to you and says, "Hey, you're going to want me on your show tomorrow. I've got something big." You drop a ton of money on that news, and then you go on television and brag about it. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Pat McAfee on his own show on ESPN, a network in the middle of a MAGA-coded transition, and I'll have more about that part in a second. But let me fill you in on this betting story. LeBron James was in free agency. Shams Charania is ESPN's NBA insider, and that guy, he's the guy who breaks news on these things. And he had been on McAfee's show regularly throughout this entire process. But things started quieting down. So then, on Friday, he tells McAfee, according to McAfee, "Hey, you're going to want me on the show today." Now, it's not exactly a leak. Nobody said a team name. Where's LeBron going? But it was a nudge, nudge, wink, wink, know what I mean, know what I mean. And McAfee understood it perfectly. And this is what he had to say about it.
Because we were told by Shams, "You're going to want me on the show today." So it's like, okay, decisions being made. Yep. So I just hammered top 4. He was at plus 700. I do not know, if any of it worked. But when you say needle mover, ground breaker, news shaker, I mean, you're talking about a guy who's been doing it since he's a teenager. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much, NBA senior insider, Shams Charania. Congrats, bro.
Good work, Shams. Hey, is that... So it's like, okay, decision being made. I just hammered top 4. He was at plus 700. Plus 700 was Philadelphia. 4th favorite on the board behind Miami, Cleveland, and Golden State. LeBron announced he was going to Philadelphia at 11:30 in the morning. And then in real time, McAfee starts to say, "I do not know, if it even worked." And he doesn't finish the sentence. And he goes on to introduce the guy who's breaking the news. He brings the guy who tipped him off onto the show immediately. And look, I got to give him credit. It's not a cover-up. Nobody involved thinks they did anything. They're not hiding it because it had never occurred to them that what they were doing was wrong. But thankfully, there are people out there, journalists like Jeff Pearlman, who spent his entire career writing serious sports books. And he went off on all of this on TikTok. And he made the same connection that I've been thinking this whole time, which is ESPN just laid off a pile of real reporters and real journalists. And the show that survived, hell, the show that got a raise, is the one where the host takes the tip and hits the sports book on air. Because that's the other side of this. Earlier this month, ESPN cut people like Ryan Clark, Carl Ravitch, who had been calling baseball for decades, Cam Newton, Stefania Bell, a fantastic injury reporter. It's a list of names of people who you actually know and actually give you insight into sports. And these people got laid off right around the same time that it came out that ESPN is closing in on paying Pat McAfee $60 million a year. Which brings us to the single most uncomfortable moment on television this month, because J.J. Watt went on McAfee's show and said what we're all thinking.
Slow news day over there on the ESPN airwaves, huh?
No,
not true.
No, every day.
I mean, besides the fact that you're getting $100 million.
Okay, Jage, please.
You're kicking everybody off the network, and nobody's
Take it away. You're gonna lose the award with what you're doing.
Place?
Did they buy NFL Network this year?
Who?
They did.
Did they? That's crazy.
There's also
Did they keep anybody, or is everybody fired to pay you? I'm trying to figure it out.
That's not
trying
funny.
To figure it
That
out.
is not funny. We do not like that. We do not appreciate that. That is the narrative, and I'm certainly taking it on the shins.
Slow news day over there on the ESPN airwaves, huh? I mean, besides the fact that you're getting $100 million, did they keep anybody, or is everybody fired to pay you? And McAfee laughed, and then he stopped laughing, and he said, "That isn't funny. We do not appreciate that." I mean, J.J. Watt, thank you for calling him out. And I've got to ask you guys, can you think of any sports outlet left that you can actually trust on sports gambling? I mean, even my favorites over there at Meadowlark Media are pimped out by DraftKings now. So name one of them, a real outlet, not just some independent person. Or are all of them bought by the gambling industry? And while you're making that list, I want you to think about one other thing about Pat McAfee. He swears this isn't political. He swears that he's not political. He's just a sports guy, fun and football and goofy chants with the crowds. Yet he is the guy who had Donald Trump on his show for Veterans Day, lobbing softball questions and yucking it up for an hour on ESPN, and then told anyone who objected that they hate the troops. And Pat McAfee's out there messing around in WWE, and CM Punk started calling him Pat McAfee. Funny, especially since these prediction markets that he's talking about are involved heavily with Don Jr. And look, ESPN, they're making this Larry Ellison play. That Ellison family buys up Paramount, writes Trump that settlement check, and now they're circling CNN. CBS completely changed their news. And now at every step, everybody involved swears it's just business, nothing political. But you've got to hear this. McAfee in 2023 walked away from a reported $120 million deal with FanDuel so that he could go to ESPN. And he explained later that he chose ESPN because under the FanDuel arrangement, he had rules because he would be explaining actual betting picks under a company that does the betting. Yet, when he goes to ESPN, the rules were loose. So he gets to do whatever he wants. Yep, the regulated version was the bad version. The version with the rules was the trap. The good version was the one where you just talk about it and make plenty of insider money. And then in June, McAfee, of course, announces DraftKings as his show's exclusive sportsbook partner. And DraftKings, as I mentioned, just put $34 million into a super PAC to shape who sits in Congress. And I can tell you, they're very, very MAGA coded. Hit that notification icon because the moment somebody actually gets caught doing this, every outlet that took that sportsbook money is going to cover it very, very carefully. And frankly, I won't. Gloves will be off.